Hello, guys. I didn't announce this live, and this is like totally unplanned. So I'll be amazed if anyone actually shows up because it's 1:46 a.m. my time. But y'all know me, I'm up all hours of the night anyway, so it doesn't really matter. I'm going to unbox the number 4 box of the Cadence Theater Hunt a Killer boxes. Bug is super excited. He's excited about this one, aren't you, Bug? Okay, so what we have learned from previous boxes, and I have them all with me because we have learned the hard way that you have to go back to other boxes sometimes for some of the clues to solve whatever it is you're supposed to be solving in the current box. So they're right here. We're good. The first box, we found out that the murder weapon was a cane that had like jewels encrusted on it. And the second box, we found out that the Simpson guy wasn't the killer. And in the other box, the third box, we found out that Ruth Erickson, the theater owner's wife, also was out of town, so she couldn't possibly be the killer. So we still don't know who the killer is, but we know the murder weapon. And we know that Viola Vane was stuffed into her own trunk in her dressing room, and then the trunk was dragged to a service elevator that went up to the attic where they keep all of their props and stuff, and that's where her body rested for 80 years, and nobody smelled anything. I still find that very suspicious, but whatever. Anyway, the trunk was super heavy, so I think it had to be a dude or at least a two-party killing to have gotten the trunk to the elevator and up to the attic. So, and there was cufflinks found underneath the trunk, but the police didn't say that that could be a clue because Lord knows how long it had been there. Which is fair, I think. Okay, so, and in the last box, we found out that Viola Vane was actually having an affair with the director of the play, who's now moved on to another girl that she was like working with. So, little love triangle. She was in an arranged marriage with the star of the show, and it was basically arranged by her mom. So, yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. But that's the backstory basically. And in real life, the theater owner currently is facing the board of directors trying to shut the theater down because of all the bad press from finding a body in the attic. Okay, that is everything I think we need to go over. And there weren't any like coded letters or anything in this one, so I think we might actually be able to just solve it. Hopefully. We'll see. We're going to try. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Okay. So here's the letter from the current owner of the theater. Hi there. I wish I was writing with better news, but unfortunately there hasn't been a whole lot of upside around here recently. The board notified me today that they've received an offer on the building, and it's much higher than I anticipated. Fundraising has been going okay, but not so well that I have any hope of countering an offer this good. I mean, who am I kidding? At this point, Lloyd is just rubbing my nose in his success. He'll be laughing all the way to the bank, and in the meantime, I'll have failed not only all of my employees, but my dad and my grandparents too. I feel like in the end, this theater has to get saved. You know what I mean? Like, there's too much of a story arc going on here. Anyway, then again, it sounds like my grandparents may not have been as wonderful as I grew up believing they were, so maybe I shouldn't feel too broken up about letting them down. Just please don't tell me they were also murderers. Finding out Ira was a bad boyfriend I can handle. I'm not sure what I'll do if you discover that one of the other of them killed Viola. Ira is, of course, the director of the play. Okay, just so we're keeping up. I don't mean to sound ungrateful. You've been making incredible progress on the case, even though it's looking more and more likely that one of my relatives was responsible for what happened to Viola. But we already ruled out that her grandma was safe, so only one of them would be involved, but whatever. Just clarifying for her, because she's apparently confused. I want to assure you, though, that I am still trying to hold up my end of our arrangement. I found some really interesting new evidence for you. I'm not sure who cut up the blueprint I'm sending, or why, for that matter, but the handwriting on the pieces look familiar, so hopefully it'll help. Oh, and I finally found the rest of Viola's original missing persons report. I'm not sure how these pages got separated from the rest of the file, but they were shoved in amongst a bunch of newspaper clippings related to the case. Maybe someone was reminiscing about the good old days, or maybe the killer was looking over the evidence because they were worried about getting caught. Dun dun dun. It's strange to think of Viola's killer walking these same halls, maybe even sitting at the same desk. The cadence hasn't changed all that much over the years, and I always thought that was part of its charm, but more and more it feels like some kind of ghoulish memorial to Viola's murder. It makes me think if I peel back the wallpaper or pull up the floorboards, I'll uncover some other terrible family secret. Speaking of uncovering things, I changed the case's folder's password to Coolidge. The password for the virtual desktop is still Porter, of course. I wish I had some exciting new break in the case to share with you, but at this point, I think the best advice I can offer is to keep doing what you're doing. It's obviously working. I know you'll find another suspect to clear this time. So when you do send me a message to the email shortcut on the virtual desktop, put Wicked in the subject line this time, and put the full name of the suspect you think is innocent in the body of your message. Okay, so we're looking to find out another person that can be cleared of the crime. Good to know. All right, so we have the rest of the missing persons report here, and then we have an envelope with the note that says return to sender. What else do we have in here? Okay, that's all of that. So we've got what do we got here? Ooh, okay, we have an old letter that says my first and last. And it's not addressed or signed. And then we have another one that says odd endings. Okay, and then we have some like newspaper cutouts. Okay, well, let's read these first because I feel like these will be entertaining. Okay, here's what happened. This is dated November 4th through 10th, 1934. It occurred one day, premiered Thursday at 7 p.m. at the Roxy Theater. Beloved Hollywood icon Charlotte Monet plays a young urban socialite who marries a grifter against her father's wishes. As punishment, she is sent off to the remote countryside where she meets a poor rogue down on his luck. He offers to help her reunite with her husband if she can manage to find him a fancy job in the big city. Hilarity and petty antics ensue in this lighthearted romantic comedy. The Dark Silhouette premiered Friday, 8 p.m. at the Capitol Theater, directed by the renowned Edmund D. Unger. The film follows a starry-eyed couple on holiday in Eastern Europe. On their travels, they meet a mysterious doctor who invites them to tour his castle in the hills. When met with strange sculptures, hidden rooms, and accoutrements of occult, the couple must escape or become the doctor's next unwilling patients. Ooh, that would make a really good movie. This eerie film is sure to leave moviegoers unsettled. I would watch that. I want to watch that now. That's promising. It's not spooky season yet, but I'm ready. Prima Donna Primavera. At Prima Donna Primavera, guests enjoy ghosts. I see that spooky on the brain now. Guests enjoy a wide variety of handmade pastas and fine wines as they are serenaded by operatic stylings of industry legend Madame Carlotta. Anyone interested in patronizing this highbrow establishment should be aware that the dress code is strictly white tie, which is fancier than black tie, if you didn't know. Nobody, regardless of social rank or prior reservation, will be allowed inside without strict adherence to this rule. Ooh la la. Noodle mood. The premise of this restaurant isn't difficult to grasp. Oodles and oodles of fresh, delicious noodles. From linguine to udon and chow fun to spatzel, this establishment boasts every form of noodle conceivable to the modern man. Exquisite interior decoration, including a series of noodle-themed oil paintings and a single rose at every table, serves to singularly elevate the ambiance of this establishment. However, the kitchen staff found themselves cursed by their success when merely an hour after opening, they ran out of nearly every menu item. For the rest of the night, patrons had to limit the scope of their noodle-based culinary exploration to a nevertheless satisfying Southwest-style macaroni dish. Interesting. Okay. Lily and Laurel. What this quaint hole-in-the-wall restaurant lacks in size, it more than makes up for in variety. Sole proprietor Isabel Anastasis utilizes her decades of experience as a personal chef to the stars to concoct a fine array of delectable dishes from France, Greece, Spain, Italy, and Portugal. In a comforting and personal touch, Isabel takes it upon herself to personally greet each customer and place a hand-picked lily at their table. Okay. The Cancio. Miles of red carpet seem to roll out for the star-studded opening of this ritzy restaurant. The Cancio features innovative twists on French and Italian classics, an extensive array of specialty cocktails, and a single red rose at every table. However, the establishment seemed to have been woefully unprepared for their guests' ravenous hunger for pasta, as all noodle-based dishes have been depleted within the first half hour. All future reservations to the Cancio must be booked at least 3 months in advance. I wonder if that's the restaurant that the director was reportedly trying to fix his reservation with or something. That's why he was on the phone during the murder. Okay, I don't know. Trying to figure out why this is in here because it has nothing to do with the theater so far. I'm trying. Antonio Faloni's Cinema and Cannoli. I would do movies in cannoli. That would be amazing. This experimental venture by the polymath of Padua, Antonio Faloni, aims to combine the film director and restaurateur's two great passions, Italian futurist cinema and artisanal cannoli. Though one might wonder if the premise is a touch too niche, even for the restaurant-ridden streets of New York City. Patrons seemed quite pleased with the undeniable quality of the restaurant's sole menu item. The film of the week, a dour flick titled L'Uomo Goloso, I don't know if I'm saying that right at all, unfortunately inspired far few accolades than the food. Okay, Gorlamis. Business partners Sergio Margariti and Donato De Coco set out on Thursday night to grace us with the hearty traditional dishes their nanas used to make. However, the duo encountered a major roadblock in achieving their culinary aspirations when a burst pipe ended the night's festivities before they could truly begin, turning the luxuriously carpeted main dining room into a waiting area and the kitchen into a garlic-infused indoor swimming pool. The official opening of Gorlamis has been pushed back 1 week. Okay, and then we got another theater one called Wolves. This experimental new musical tells the story of a wolf pack forced to live on the dwindling wooded outskirts of a growing metropolis. They grapple with the decision to relinquish their territory and live with the humans. The wolves are left with a difficult choice. Which of their pack will be the first to face domestication? This quirky yet profound production features elaborate costumes, sprawling dance numbers, and beautiful ballads by composer Ned Webster. I don't think I would watch that play. Okay, so I don't really know why this is in here unless one of these restaurants is where the director was trying to get his reservation fixed at. So we'll figure that out. Okay, then we have November 2nd, 1937. So this is a couple years after the murder. Star's big break raises lingering questions. Movie fans are expected to pack theaters this week as Hector Rollins' first big-budget picture, The Adventures of Dr. Dent, finally arrives on Friday. In it, Roland portrays the dashingly handsome and charismatic doctor himself, pulled from the pages of pulp serials. Expect Roland to contend with such exotic dangers as the fearsome Fu Manchu. Though the theater-turned-motion picture star undoubtedly has hit on his hands, there are many who remain suspicious of his meteoric rise. They have not forgotten his alleged involvement in the infamous disappearance of theater star Viola Vane in November of 1934. Though no one has ever charged, the police officially consider Miss Vane a runaway. Fans have not stopped speculating as to her fate. Some maintain Roland himself was involved in the disappearance, especially because of their very public engagement to and equally public split from Miss Vane. While we all know Roland is about to be at the top of the box office, where is everyone else with possible ties to Vane's disappearance? Ooh, this is interesting. Okay. Ira Adler and his wife, Evelyn, so he marries Evelyn, Formerly Miss Kittredge, Vane's director and co-star, respectively, married in January of 1935 after a short engagement. Holy crap. So, yeah, they were like secretly dating right before the murder. And then, what, a few months after the murder, they're married? That's some tea there. That's okay. Let's remember that. That was like a shotgun wedding. Okay. Interesting. The couple welcomed a child shortly after, with some speculating it was perhaps a little too shortly after. So there we go. Okay. That makes sense. Can't have a child out of wedlock. What a sin. The Adlers are the current owners of the Cadence Theater, having purchased it from George Erickson, Vane's producer. Interesting. So the theater owners are not the Ericksons. Like the one that we correspond with, that is not the like offspring of the Ericksons. She's an offspring of the Adlers, probably. Oh, this is getting good. Okay. The Adlers are the current owners, blah, 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 blah. Okay, the Cadence has since flourished under the supervision of the Adlers and their stage manager, Joe Sampson, who has been cleared. When asked to comment, a spokesperson for the Adlers said, Mr. and Mrs. Adler can only hope that wherever Miss Vane is now, she was able to find the happiness that the stage seemingly could not bring. After ceding ownership of the Cadence, Mr. Erickson moved to Boston, where he has been living since his divorce. Okay, remember, when the murder happened, they already had one kid, and she was pregnant with another. I think it was the Erickson dude, George Erickson. I think he did it. I think he's the murderer. I know I've like speculated so many people, but I think it's him. There he is directing plays and working on a science fiction project. He still remembers the last day he laid eyes on Miss Vane. This will be good, I think. I remember it clear as day. I was checking my books the night she disappeared. I must have just been going over some numbers when sweet Viola walked out of our lives. She could have walked right past me and I might not have noticed. Or you murdered her and stuffed her in her own trunk and put her up in the attic. Only Mr. Erickson was able to provide this reporter the location of Vane's mother, Olga Gaina, who currently lives in Hell's Kitchen. All she offered by way of comment before slamming the door in this intrepid reporter's face was, she disappeared and left me here alone. What am I supposed to do now? Aww. I mean, not all. She's like a crazy stage mom that beat her, but whatever. While some seem understandably heartbroken and others irate, it seems many have moved on, including the next great film star. Hopefully, these positive changes can bring Roland, the Adlers, and others a little bit of closure or catharsis. That is interesting. Could smoking be bad? I wonder. Okay, that's okay, whatever. All right, so there was some tea there. Okay, a little love child happened, which would explain why he was suddenly like, I'm going to settle down and marry someone, because he knocked her up and he had to. That's some tea. That's some freaking hot little piping sip of tea. Okay, let's get to the rest of this missing persons report. Memo for commanding officers. Subject, Victoria Gaina, also Viola Vane. Just so we're clear, that was her like stage name was Viola Vane, but her real name was Victoria Gaina. Mom is Olga Gaina. I didn't specify that sooner. Mrs. Olga Gaina has continued to contact this office on a daily basis to inform Detective Shannon that her daughter, Miss Victoria Gaina, alias Viola Vane, has not yet returned home. Mrs. Gaina remains adamant that her daughter must have met with some misadventure, despite assurances from this office that her daughter is likely on another extended vacation and repeated reminders that no evidence suggests Miss Gaina has come to harm. This conclusion is supported by several additional interviews conducted by Detective Shannon. Firstly, Detective Shannon reached Mrs. Ruth Erickson by telephone at the Ericksons' country house in Tannersville, Pennsylvania. She confirmed that she stopped at the Cadence Theater with her baby in order to discuss the matters with her husband before her trip. She stated that she left around 5 o'clock p.m. and went directly to Penn Station to catch a 5:20 p.m. train. She said she did not witness the altercation between Mrs. Gaina and her daughter, though she noted that her husband did seem distressed about the incident the next time she spoke to him. Mrs. Erickson wished to state for the record that she wouldn't shed a tear if Viola Bay never showed her face at the Cadence again. She didn't like her. And I have a feeling it's because she knew about the little love triangle that was happening, but whatever. As the last known person to speak with Miss Gaina, Miss Evelyn Kittredge has been of particular interest to this investigation. Detective Shannon arranged to interview her again at the Williamsburg apartment on Tuesday, November 13th. When asked what she discussed with Miss Gaina on the night of November 6th, Miss Kittredge said she was quite hysterical. She kept saying, "I can't take this anymore." She attributed Miss Gaina's anxiety to a combination of stress from her home life and dissatisfaction with her career. Viola never appreciated her good luck, Miss Kittredge said. She had the starring role, but that wasn't good enough for her. Some of us have fought tooth and nail to achieve even a fraction of her success, you know. She hadn't even been trying lately. The new dance routine was a challenge for her, even though, frankly, it's not that difficult. She had such trouble keeping her lines straight, and now she's gone and made things harder for the rest of us. Asked what she meant by this, Miss Kittredge stated that Miss Gaina's sudden absence caused the production to make numerous changes to the play. Some of them were for the better, she admitted. I don't mean to sound crass, but the truth is, I'm much better suited to the part than Viola was. But still, we're all scrambling to pick up the slack because of her. What a jerk. Like, they were supposed to be besties? Are you kidding me? Finally, Detective Shannon confirmed with the night doorman at the Criterion Arms, Mr. Albert Mercer of Brooklyn, that he did not observe Mrs. Gaina returning to her apartment on the night of November 6th. He added that Mrs. Gaina is often at Crook's until closing time and that it's not unusual for her to return home early in the morning. He also indicated that she often forgets events that occurred the previous evening. According to Mr. Mercer, she hit me once, just hauled off and clocked me with her umbrella for no reason. And the next day she asked why I had a black eye. She usually gets worse the later it is in the day. So Viola's mom was like an abusive drunk. Got it. He maintained that while it was not likely that Miss Gaina could have returned during the night without his noticing, he would not be in the least surprised if Miss Gaina had informed her mother about her travel plans and Miss Gaina simply did not recall what had transpired between them. That makes sense. Mrs. Gaina's hysterical interference is becoming a nuisance to this office. While her concern for her daughter is understandable, it is the opinion of this office that her worries likely stem from her guilt about driving her daughter away, not from any realistic danger her daughter may be in. In light of the above information, is the recommendation of this office that this case be closed as soon as possible. So basically, they just don't want to deal with her mom anymore. That's great police work. Really outstanding. Good job, guys. Okay, so let's look at these. Okay, so this is dated January 29th, 1934, and this is November 3rd, 1934. So this one we'll read first. It says, odd endings. When a situation like ours ends, one must hope to remain friends. There is no evil in... What is that? There is no evil in our heart, but circumstance dictates we must part. After all, there's been another for you from the start, a man to whom you've promised your hand and your heart. Is this a breakup poem? What? That's like worse than a breakup text. Okay. Wowzers. Okay. That ring around your finger isn't just a toy. If you just want to add a distraction, you can find another boy. Even if you do take us seriously, a mother like yours is no patient to me. The screaming I heard, the violence I saw, cursed me to feel that I had to withdraw. So I started blaming on her mom, like, listen, I can't deal with your mom, you're engaged to someone else, like, we're done. Yet where one door closes, a window bursts open, my heart blooms with roses for someone anew. And I hope and I pray that perhaps you'll both see this from my side someday. Who writes a breakup poem and the very end's like, oh, and I fell in love with somebody else? What? I would be clocking somebody just bah. Are you kidding me? Okay. So, is this the same handwriting too? I think this is the same handwriting. Okay. My first and last. This is dated November 3rd, 1934. Was that the day? No. She disappeared or got killed on the 6th. So this is 3 days before she got. Okay. My first and last. Every night the thought of you delights. Every day I keep you in my sight. How artful you are. You've given me a heart full of love. Of lovin'? When a troublesome gal tried to pull me away, looked right at you, and I knew she would pay. Will you choose me? Will you, now that I've chosen you too? I understand that from now on, I'll always be true. I'm already. What? What? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make out this handwriting. Understand that from now on, I'll always be true. I'm already something, just as you can be. Oh, lover, romantically, unexpectedly. My heart lives in you like a bird in a tree. Like, I know back in these days, writing poems for your lover was like a thing, but like, girl, what? Because I know some girls would be opening them, and, oh, swoon, but like, I would be laughing. This is probably why I'm single, isn't it? Okay, let's open this Return to Cinder. It says, Joe, could you pass this on to Olga? She hasn't been taking my calls since our last conversation. Interesting. Oh, good, and it's typed, so I don't have to make out handwriting. I love that. Okay, Mrs. Gaina, enclosed you will find the wedding band you expected me to give your daughter. Viola tells me it was yours once, but that you haven't worn it since your husband passed away 20 years ago. I hope you'll forgive me for saying so, but this ring seems to be bad luck. Even if it weren't, there's no point in my keeping it anymore, so I release it back to you in good faith. Mrs. Gaina, you and I may not have parted on ideal terms the last time we spoke, but I hope that you'll give careful consideration to what I'm about to say. You have my sincerest apologies that life didn't play out the way either of us expected. I wish our conversation about calling off the wedding had gone more smoothly. Trust me, I wasn't happy when Viola made the choice either, but her opinion on our relationship is just as important as mine, and it's far more important than yours. We both need to respect her decision. And to be frank, the talks she and I have had about the situation have brought me around to her point of view. I was so ready to be merely content with my personal life, but something about her newfound exuberance has helped me remember what it was like to be 10 years younger and to know myself capable of so much more. I never settle for anything less than the total realization of each and every character I embody on the stage. Why should it be any different, any less, when I'm being Hector Roland? Good for you, Hector. I surely have no idea how you managed to raise such a cockeyed optimist, Mrs. Gaina. Now that I've sung enough of your daughter's praises, I need to ask you a favor on her behalf. Let her move on. Stop blaming her for growing up. Stop blaming Ira for bringing out in her a desire to make her own decisions. It was already there in the first place. If he hadn't drawn her away from the prospect of a loveless marriage, it would have been some other dashing young creative. Handsome men are dangerous like that. They'll always have you wanting to go off script. As soon as her contract with George is up, Viola is going to have more offers than she'll know what to do with, and that includes offers to represent her. She won't need you anymore. You still have the opportunity to accept that gracefully. Let yourself be her mother, not her manager. It may not be quite as good, but I hear it's plenty fulfilling nonetheless. So he's trying to get her to be a good mom. That's good. That's nice. Oh, and there goes the ring. I don't know if I can reach that. Oh, well. I don't think there's anything there. Okay, and then we have this little pocket case in here, and there's something folded up inside of it. So let's see what this is. Hi, Victoria. We're trying to solve a murder. Okay, this is like the blueprints, but it's literally all cut into like these little tiny pieces. That's interesting. So let's try and see if there's anything important written on any of these. Interesting. Curious. Okay, there is some writing on some of these. Good Lord, I don't know if I'm gonna have to like try and piece these together. Why is it cut up? I'm just gonna try and find the pieces that have the writing and see what the writing says. Anything with no writing is just blueprint and doesn't matter. Unless there's something on the blueprint for how. Ooh, yes. I love it. After we finish this storyline, I'm actually going to do the horror storyline, and like the first story for that box or whatever is the Blair Witch Project. I loved that movie when I was growing up, so very excited for that. There is like writing all over so many of these. Oh, I think some of it's like labeling dressing rooms and stuff, though. Okay. Some of this writing is going to be irrelevant. Okay. So, yeah. That's a stage, dressing room. Oops. Just dropped one, but I don't think there was anything important on it. Coat room. Okay. Trying to find like little secret notes somewhere. Yes. I'm very, very excited about the horror. Because then we'll be solving it during spooky season. That was my thought. Okay, so I don't think there's any like secret notes on here. It's just like the same like weird coat that's been on like all the like theater stuff. All the writing is just labeling like rooms, basically. But some of them are circled. Why are some of them circled? Interesting. And there's multiple storage rooms. Okay. Well, I may piece that together some other time and figure out what exactly is going on with these, because there's everything that's like written down is just labeling rooms basically. So that's weird, but not weird enough to warrant investigating currently. It's not going to eliminate a suspect. So, but there may be something interesting in there. Yes, I love spooky season. I'm so excited. I bought some like latex, like the liquid latex. I haven't like played with it at all, so I gotta figure out what I want to do with it, but I want to be ready for spooky season. Bring it on. Okay, so we have to roll out another person. I honestly feel like Hector is not to be blamed here. I feel like he's a good guy. And then we obviously have these ridiculous poems from Ira. So he can't be ruled out because, like, what was that? Who does a breakup poem? I don't know if you joined in time for that, but like, dude, full on wrote a breakup poem. 1930s were wild. Okay, so I have a feeling we're going to have to go back to some previous boxes to rule somebody out because we don't really have any concrete evidence to rule anybody out in this box. So let's start digging. But I feel like either Hector or, I mean, I kind of want to rule out Evelyn, but honestly, they were supposed to be besties and she was kind of a jerk. So I'm like, is that really a bestie though? Is it? Because I don't think so. If I go missing, I don't want people to be like, ugh, such an inconvenience. Right? Yes, breakup texts are awful, but can you imagine getting a breakup poem? And at the very end of the poem, he's like, oh, and I found someone new, basically. Can you imagine? Ooh, I'd be livid. I don't know what a 1930s version of an ass kicking is, but that's what he'd be getting. Woo-wee. Break up with me in a poem and say, I found someone new? And make it rhyme? No. Okay, so here's the other part of the missing persons report. I feel like that's going to be a tied in kind of thing. So, okay, there's George Erickson's, who I honestly feel like we can't rule him out. He might have done it. Okay, here's Evelyn. She went and visited her. She was crying. And then she left several minutes after 6:00 p.m. The murder happened sometime between 5:30 and 6, so that doesn't really rule her out. Okay. So, okay, Hector left around 5:30 p.m. and was said to arrive at his event at 6:00 p.m. So he was traveling during the time that the murder happened. But we don't have any concrete evidence that he actually was where he said he was. And then let's see. Ira was on the phone with the Excelsior Hotel. Okay, so where's that weird little what's happening thing? Was any of these at the Excelsior Hotel? None of them really say, do they? Because his whole thing was they messed up his dinner reservation, so he was on phone during the time of the murder. He heard some commotion, but he didn't get off the phone to find out what was going on in his theater. I don't know about you, but I'd be getting off the phone or at least putting the phone down since you're on hold with a, hotel reservation or whatever. Makes sense to me, but whatever. Yeah, none of these say if they were at the Excelsior Hotel. But there was The noodle place ran out of noodles. What was the one that you had to? One of them you had to like book like 3 months in advance after like they ran out of stuff. The Cancio, yes. All future reservations to the Cancio must be booked at least 3 months in advance. And this was November 4th. So, if his reservation was at this place and he'd made it before then, and then like they ran out of food, so they had to, you know, change all the future reservations or something. I don't know. Maybe. But I feel like the director or the owner was the one that killed her. Because again, I don't know if you've kept up with this, Victoria, okay, but like her body was put into a heavy trunk and then put into a like waiter and went upstairs to a storage room. So like that had to be a heavy trunk, especially with a dead body in it. So it had to be a dude or two people that killed her. I'm just saying. So I feel like we could probably rule out Evelyn as a killer because there's no way she would have been able to carry that trunk to an elevator and then carry it into the room. That's what I'm going to go with, Evelyn, even though she was a total B word in the little interview. But, you know, just because she's a B doesn't mean she's a killer. Ooh, Black Dahlia. Yes, that is such an interesting case. Like, it's so crazy. And did you know that there's like little condos now, like where her body was? There's like houses. Like, people just live there where the Black Dahlia murder happened. Like, I could never. Oh, that would be crazy. Just look out your lawn and be like, the grass is really green right there. I wonder why. There might have been a corpse there for a while. Okay. I'm going to try and say Evelyn is ruled out as a suspect, but like, again, I'm not fully sure that she's not, but I'm going to try it. But I think it's either her or Hector that can be ruled out this time. So those are my two guesses. I'll let you guys know how it goes, and I will piece together this blueprint and see if there's anything interesting on there. So look forward to a like 4.5 video coming at you soon. But yeah, I'll update you guys and see like what happens. And that's that. I'm going to get off of here and send that in, and we'll see if I'm right. And if I'm not, then it's back to the drawing board, and I'll let you guys know what went down. Thank you for joining, Victoria, and everyone who watches this later. Hi, bye. Okay, love you guys. Bye.